Hello, welcome back, house guests. Come on in, have a seat, and let me pour you some tea on the latest Blake Lively, or should I say Taylor Swift incident. So, we don't know exactly what happened, right? It's odd. Taylor Swift had an intruder or someone who hopped her backyard at 2:16 in the morning, is reported by the Leawood Police Department. Star magazine first picked it up. So let's go through it. I'll start with the official police statement, and then I'll go into what Star has said, and then what E! Online has said, and then I did a kind of a review of everybody's videos, so I want to thank Lauren and DontFckwJustice, Kenz, and also, oh my God, Katie and KC. If I got that wrong, I am so sorry. But this is where I am drawing my conclusions, and the links are in the notes below. So I'll start with the official statement. And this is the Leawood, Kansas police. On 9/15, so this wasn't recent, this was last week. So this has some time to stew. Shortly after 2:15 a.m., Leawood, Kansas police officers were dispatched to a private gated neighborhood. So they didn't give a specific address. So they just said a neighborhood in a gated community. In the 11600 block of Pawnee Lane. Now I'm assuming that there's neighbors on that block, and because they didn't give a specific address, then I'm assuming that there could be more than one house that this could have been affected in. And it continues, To investigate a trespassing incident, officers arrived and, contacted an adult male within the gated community. Again, no specific house address. Then, male was arrested on a misdemeanor charge of criminal trespassing and was released after posting bond. Okay. So, Star Magazine had a name in regards to this incident because I guess they were the first ones to get it, and they got the first eyes on the police report or whatever when this incident happened last week. So they said the name, and maybe I shouldn't even say the name because if it's not true, then that person's going to get harassed and I don't want to do it. But it was a specific name, which also happens to be a second person that was in Missouri and not Kansas that was also arrested, but under child support arrest. So if you don't pay your child support, you will get arrested, and the only way to bond out is to pay the child support, or I guess I'm thinking go back to court and figure it out or get a lawyer, but you have to pay your child support. Otherwise, you'll get an arrest warrant, and I believe I want to say that's 3 months, no child support. I'll have to look that up, or if someone can correct me, but I know it because I'm very familiar with that because I have a baby daddy. Anyways, so let's continue. So this guy just happens to have a history of being either a private investigator, a police officer, a truck driver. Apparently he had a few jobs within a short time span. Lauren on her channel said that a daughter or a family member, I'm sorry, I'm not going to say daughter, but a family member contacted her and gave her information that said she wasn't surprised and blah, blah, blah. I can kind of see that behavior being consistent with that child support thing. Anyways, side note, sorry, let's get back. He is also an offender, but they're not the same people. Star Magazine mentioned a process server. Kenz on her channel thought that she had the Facebook pages of the person involved, and it was they had some political aspects to it, but it also had some Taylor Swift photos to it. And then apparently the offender posted on the 15th and then didn't have any activity. And then there was some activity like 13 hours later. These could be just coincidences. Kenz also said the local news didn't cover it right away. And why would Star Magazine cover it? And there's heavily redacted police report. So some people thought, is it to scare Taylor Swift maybe into not testifying, that Blake Lively went even further and instead of, extorting her, now harassing her, which would be horrible, all alleged, my opinion. Oh my God, don't sue me. If she had a stalker, well, that would be true. She did have a stalker and a stalker concern. She did hire a private investigator to follow that stalker to keep tabs on him. He lost him, can't find him, alerted Taylor's team, and now there's extra security. Could this be sympathy for Blake? Like, she lost her friendship and she's being crucified in the press. Poor Blake. Now everybody's blaming her for Taylor, and this has happened because there's been an uptick of Blake on Facebook, at least on my Facebook, and I don't do research Blake Lively on Facebook. Or it could be the other way around. It could be Taylor Swift sending a signal to the Wayfarer team saying, get the F off my back, or more stuff is going to happen in your name. And then simply, did someone just tip them off? Or was Star Magazine misquoted or mistaken? Or was it and I can't remember the influencer's name, but there was a theory that the person who was covering, I believe, Taylor Swift, was covering Travis Kelce, was from Newsweek, and then they moved to Star, but because they're so junior, with this, then they had this story that they had to have a more senior reporter kind of take it to get maybe credibility or to take the fall. But this is what I think happened. Now, bear with me. I have notes and I get sidetracked. So the police report that Katie and KC said was that the two names on the police report were actually Drew, Taylor's bodyguard, and the second was Travis's neighbor a couple doors down. I don't know how many doors down. I don't know if it was immediately, like I can look into your window and there you are, or if it was 2 or 3 doors down. I don't know. But they also made the police report. So when you make a report, it's usually with the person who makes the 911 phone call. And these 911 phone calls are also public record. So if anybody's listening, if they can get the 911 calls, they'll give it to you, but they'll redact the information. So it'll say, caller said, hey, 911, I have a male intruder. And then it'll be like, operator said, give me your address. And then caller would be like, it is da-da-da-da-da. And then operator would be like, okay, tell me what happened. And then you can see it and you can see the details and then you can see who was dispatched there and whatever. Don't ask me how I know that. Anyways, so what I'm thinking is this. What if What if someone by the same name, let's just say that Star was telling the truth in this vein. We'll do it both ways. Star was telling the truth and Star was mistaken. Star telling the truth. Yes, there was someone by the same name as this person in the other state who just happened to be a private eye, because private eyes can be hired to serve people, right? So what if they're telling the truth and this person by the same name, really did hop the fence and whatnot. But what if he hopped the fence from the neighbor's yard and was running through to her yard? Now we know that Lauren said that the Baldoni team, or she's got a good source, that the Baldoni team denies giving a subpoena out like this or hiring a process server, which would be true, because why would you do that? The lawyers are already talking between Taylor Swift and Justin Baldoni's legal team and all of them. So there's no need to send out crazy people for a subpoena when you can just be like, hey, telephone call. Hey, by the way, do you want this? I'll fax it, mail it, whatever. It would be facilitated through that because they're already working together. So what if, and he, the guy, right, because this is a week later, tells the family member to cover his booty so he doesn't seem like a deadbeat dad, that, yeah, he was serving Taylor Swift and he got caught. There is some video or some news article that actually the guy makes a statement that says, yeah, I haven't been a private eye for very long and then I got caught. So maybe he's just using that as a front to cover for the child support. So he's not just a deadbeat person, but also to get money to recoup his child support fees, because that'd be a good story. And if he really was a police officer, he would have access to the scanner and all of the records, right? I don't know if the people have it, if you guys in your small towns have this, but there's usually scanner pages and people can listen to the police scanner, and it's a form of entertainment on Facebook. And so whenever a 911 call goes out, it gets dictated on Facebook and the events. Please don't ask me how I know that. So between the scanner, maybe he heard something, or maybe he was able to Google his name and then he saw this and he saw an opportunity for money, right? And so he gave this statement, or he said, yeah, my name is so-and-so on this, and then maybe Star Magazine called a reporter or whatever or something, or leaked it and said, yeah, his name is this and this. And then they're like, yeah, let me just match that up. And that's Star Magazine's thing, because they're like, yeah, even though he's being charged with child support and no one's going to check this, he's got the same name of the guy who's in jail. Because you would be able to see maybe, I guess you wouldn't be able to see the arrest records, but maybe you would be able to see a mugshot of somebody and the name. Because isn't that public record too? Don't ask me how I know that. So maybe it's just some guy with the same name who owes child support, needs the money, saw an opportunity and exploited it. And now Star Magazine is in the right. They just didn't do their research, or they did their research and it was confirmed through a leak or something like that. Or Star Magazine totally lied and this person isn't who said it was. And what really happened is this person was maybe in this lady's backyard. She sees him. She calls it in. He's running from yard to yard. He gets trampled by Travis Kelce's security team who was there guarding the house. Maybe he says, I'm a process server, that I'm covering for Taylor Swift because the case is so big, right? I'm just guessing. I guess this would prove Star right too. So I don't know. But maybe he got caught trying to either rob some homes because there's been robberies in that area before. And if this is a gated community, come on, you're not going to fail by robbing the wrong house, right? So what if it was someone who's trying to do a robbery, but they got caught in the wrong house? They jump backyards. Burglar ends up in the wrong yard. Security catches him. Now we're doing criminal trespassing. Maybe he says, I'm trying to serve Taylor Swift just to get out of it once he realizes whose house it is, and it's Travis Kelce's house. Or maybe he doesn't and they just let him go. But they don't give a specific address. They say he's within the gated community. It would have been I would think it would be a specific house. But you know what? Only the 911 call and that dispatch phone call and those reports would tell us a whole lot more other than the police report. So if someone has that, or is there a scanner page in Kansas City and they have access to that, if they can go back to 9:15 at 2:16 a.m. and find that phone call, maybe we need a Freedom of Information request. You could also do that. But they'll also redact all of the pertinent information too. Please don't ask me how I know that. So that is my theory. Everybody's being very quiet because maybe it doesn't involve anybody at all, but just a person who's exploiting a situation because they got caught robbing a house and they needed a front. What do you guys think? Like, subscribe, comment, share, and check out all of those creators' videos that I'll put in the description, and let me know your thoughts. Thanks, house guests. See you next time.